Essex Business Radio.
Hi everybody, it's Elliot here, Essex Business Radio, and my very good guest, I didn't start off very well, did it?
My very good friend. Oh no!
Okay, my very good friend and guest, Martine Lucas, is here with us this afternoon. Say hello, Martine.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
So good to be here. It's been too long.
It was a good start, that though, wasn't it?
Yes.
No.
Let me say yes, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
No.
Oh, listen, but when we're recording, that's it. We just go with it. We're not going to stop. We're not going to edit it. We're just going to crack on.
But now, what's more important is I'm a good friend now. That's it.
Yeah.
Put that on my post.
Yeah, you see, I naturally said that straight away, didn't I?
See?
But we've known each other for what, 3-4 months now?
Yeah, no longer than that. That's how. It was about 6 months ago.
So, do you know what? It absolutely was,
yeah.
Where on earth has that time gone?
I know, it does, doesn't it? When you're busy, I know you've been ultra busy.
Yeah,
I've been working away and that kind of thing. But we're here now.
We are.
Yeah.
And we talked about this quite a while ago. Before this studio was set up, before all this.
I saw you when you had the equipment arriving.
Yeah,
and you was like, and I was like, oh, how exciting.
I know.
And kind of now I'm here and it's all set up. It's cool.
It's good, very cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's comfortable in here, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel really. Yeah, we've talked about the fireplace.
Yeah,
And having,
the Fireside Chat, if
lovely.
people can see here behind us and in the studio. Martine, we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
An educator, a change champion.
Yeah.
To put that into maybe simpler words would be maybe a life coach of sorts.
And trainer, yeah.
And a trainer. So, okay, this is where we go. So what on earth got you onto this path? What is it that started you off on this path?
So my journey, really.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite a full-on one, and I think that's kind of what gives me the kind of passion behind it, because it's so personal. You know, it's come from my background. I am a recovering alcoholic.
Okay, yeah.
So I started about 11 years ago. I got sober, and I think, you know, it's really important for me to say this, that, you know, I learnt so much more in them 11 years than I had all that time before. Let's not talk about my age, Elliot, but let's just say it's a long time.
We don't talk about ages in here.
Let's not talk
We're
about
not
age.
ageist. We're not ageist.
No.
Age is a state of mind. I said this before.
Exactly. Yes, you're always saying that, and it's true. But yeah, I learned so much, and you know, and the thing was with my journey, it wasn't a linear process. You know, it doesn't always just go up. It was kind of up and down, but kind of appreciating. I did learn to appreciate that whatever was happening, even 2 steps back, you know, I was moving forward, progress, learning so much about myself.
Sure.
But saying it's not a linear process, you know, I had a kind of rock bottom in my recovery, so I didn't pick up a drink.
Yeah.
But I kind of hit rock bottom, and it was like, when I say rock bottom, I mean my thoughts, my behaviours had become quite negative.
Okay.
I was getting road rage again.
Really?
Which I dealt with before, and it's kind of, when they say it in the rooms, you know, it's like I'm a dry drunk, because all right, I'm not drinking, but my head's gone back into that place.
Right. Okay.
But how I got there was, my dad's an alcoholic, and he died of alcoholism, basically.
Right, okay.
And me going to see him, I was living in London at the time. I was moving about Islington and Muswell Hill, and trying to, you know, work on my business and kind of keep myself afloat. And then I kind of had to come back because my dad was very ill. Mm-hmm. And seeing him in that kind of that illness, but having, and it was serious, you know, I had to get him in recovery. He was taken to hospital. He didn't deal with it well, obviously, and he was hallucinating. And I'm watching my father, you know, die in front of my eyes.
Wow.
And for me to kind of see that was traumatic. But when you're trying to help your family and, you know, deal with all the other stuff, the practical stuff, and my sister, you know, and all that, you kind of putting one foot in front of the other, and you're trying to deal with it. So I hadn't really, you know, looked after myself in that, and dealing with the
You're too busy looking after other people, aren't you?
Yeah, and I should learn. I do need to I'm taking should out of that. I hadn't kind of got it for me. It was like sorting out the funeral, and I kind of took a down place, but I didn't pick up a drink, you know, Elliot, and I'm so grateful for that. And that's kind of, that's a testament to kind of what I put into my recovery. You know, how bad I wanted it. You know, I wanted it that bad. I worked really hard.
And was it just drink? Is it just alcohol?
No, it was everything.
Really?
But
Okay.
that was my gateway.
Yeah.
You know, I was a bit of a wild one. Drink was in it, so all drugs, recreational drugs, and you know, party girl, that kind of thing. So it all come in. But at the end of the day, the thing that had me by the balls was
the alcohol. Yeah.
So I knew it was that. You
Sure.
know, everything kind of followed on that. And so you know, when I sort of hit that bottom in my recovery, I couldn't see it. It's like I went back into a denial. So I was kind of getting this road rage back. I laugh when I say road rage, only because it's kind of like the anger is just ridiculous, you know. And I could see, and I remember years ago going to be, you need to keep a bit calm, you know. You don't do that you've got to think this way, you've got to do that. And then there's me just absolutely going mental, you know, and kind of winding my window down. And,
Oh, my
you
God.
know, yeah. Anyway, but then when you
reminds me of my issues, to be honest. I maybe need to look at myself.
Yeah, so I had to kind of reconnect. And what happened, and the reason why I'm mentioning that is because I come back stronger.
Yeah.
I know, even when there's little things, I know when I look at that shit, right, and I go, what's going on, and I unpick it, I kind of get an acceptance around it and go, right, I've got an awareness of that. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. And I get stronger. And I got stronger this time. And it was a process of coming back. And it was like, right, let's look at the basics. Start eating well.
Yeah.
Start looking after yourself, girl.
And how long ago was this where you're saying
my
that?
dad died over 3 years ago now.
Okay.
So my journey from there was, first of all, being in it, making bad decisions, and, you know, kind of doing things that weren't acceptable before. It's kind of like toxic, bringing drama and toxicity back in my life. And kind of knowing it, but then on the other end, in a denial, kind of going, this is all right.
Yeah.
It weren't all right.
Standard sort of procedure and things like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like my standard has dropped and I'd kind of sort of lost my way. And like I said, then to pull it back, it was, come on, girl, you need to take care of yourself. You need to make yourself a priority. You need to connect again with your program. And and that means taking care of me, being kind, being honest, being kind of accepting people when they cut me up and not chasing them. You know, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Drop that.
Yeah.
And then I felt stronger. It's because I just learned so much more.
Yeah.
And it was like, of course you had that trauma and of course it took you down, but you come back up. And it kind of then, I got to think, well, what is it that brought me back? What are them things that are really, really powerful in my recovery? Because of course, I had my 12-step program, but I also, on top of that, it was about me, what's right for me. You know, how do I connect? How do I kind of get that peace of mind? And
so what's the 12-step program? Is this something that not yours? Is this something that was taught to you?
This is in recovery. I can't go into it too much because of that.
Okay.
You know, there's
people that will be listening to this or watching this, they'll understand that.
Absolutely.
Okay. I've heard this before. I'm just asking for people that might not know what it is. Yeah.
It's for all kinds of addiction. So we're talking about alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, any behaviours that you have.
Of course,
and it's what saved my life.
Oh, sure.
But
we've had this conversation before. As well, of course,
and it's what saved my life. But it didn't stop there. You know, you kind of then. It's like they say, after 5 years of being sober, you get your marbles back, and then 10 years you know how to play with them. You know,
right,
it's kind of like, it's a long journey.
That's an analogy you've used before, isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know.
I mean,
not with me.
I have here. I don't know, but but it's what happened, and But what is the beautiful thing is that you grow and grow.
Yeah.
And I learned that the real core of it is kind of looking at the things that I put in the Prime Project. You know, it's kind of living smarter. You know, it's not about this sort of, you know, people get a bit afraid of recovery or kind of think that self-development is a bit, what's the word, fluffy. I think and it's so not, you know, it's a powerful way to live. And I'm talking about kind of what I learned after the 12-step program. You know, about living, for me, it's about living smarter, being clever, you're not working too hard, working smarter, so you haven't got to, and having that kind of street sort of head where you kind of, you're being clever and you're taking care of you, but you're being kind and honest, and it's cool to be. I think people think it ain't cool to be kind and honest. It absolutely is.
Well, I've always been kind, so I don't know.
Yeah, are we sure about that? Is that debate?
I think so.
Should we have a programme for that?
So that's what got you on the path, was going through that whole process yourself.
Yeah.
And dealing with your father.
Yeah.
And dealing with his loss, and I suppose that ramming it home exactly what that effect that could have on you if you continued down that path as well. Was it about that as well?
Do you know what? It wasn't so much about that. I think, wasn't
it?
No.
See, I would have thought that would be the big thing, is sort of seeing that. Let's say, dare I say this is the wrong word, demise of your father. Through that. Is that not the shock factor of that?
Because I think. I mean, I get what you're saying, and that could be an element. But how I see it is, I'd had the shock factor through my recovery. I mean, imagine. I had to give up. I mean, my life was shot to bits.
Yeah.
I was fucked. In my head and everything. My life was, in pieces.
Well, coming on the show looking as glam as you are, it hasn't done you too bad. Then, has it, to be honest, you've recovered very well.
There's my recovery program for you. Eating well and exercising.
It obviously works. But
it wasn't that. It was seeing that. So imagine my father, I knew was an alcoholic from a long time when I found out I was. And then I tried to get him to get recovery.
Okay.
I took him to some meetings.
Yeah.
And bless him, he just didn't get it.
Right.
I had to get an acceptance around the fact that my dad would probably never get sober.
Yeah. How long had your father been drinking? If you don't mind me asking. So as long as you can remember.
Yes.
And there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to listen to this, watch this, whatever.
Yeah.
That this is going to resonate with them a lot,
Absolutely.
A lot, and a lot. I think a lot more than people realise. Because I don't know that it was necessarily looked quite upon as alcoholism back in the day. It was just something that people did. You just drank, and there was, because of the culture, because there was pubs everywhere, because the drink. It was much more normal than it is now.
Yes.
It's easier to, I think, dare I say, and I could be saying it's way out of turn. I think it's easier to spot an alcoholic these days than possibly it was back in the day. Well, am I wrong? Am I right saying that?
Do you mean society's kind of got an idea of what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we've accepted the fact there is alcoholism out there, and that people are alcoholics, as opposed to before it was just drinking. Exactly.
I think it was. I mean, and don't forget, I think in my granddad's time, and he liked it. I mean, he wasn't an alcoholic, but he liked to drink. But you could drink and drive then.
Absolutely.
You could have a few whiskies and a few more, and getting his car and drive perfectly legal.
Yeah.
But also, I think it was the man would go down the
it was just part of
drink. That's what they do.
And
again, exactly. And I think obviously that didn't make alcoholics. That you either are or you aren't.
Yeah.
And I think with my dad, it was, and he, I loved my dad. He was such a funny man, and he was so a good host, and he'd always like to do his barbecues. But the drink, and there are different types of alcoholics. For him, it took him in his body. He couldn't walk in the end. He couldn't eat in the end.
I mean, it's it kills you from the inside out, doesn't it?
Exactly.
It does.
It was horrendous. So I think it was the fact of being so sad that I knew there was a solution.
Yeah.
To lose it, but he didn't want it,
yeah.
And that's what hurts. It's not about whether I could go down that path or whatever, because I dealt with why I drank.
Sure.
But seeing him and thinking that's so sad that my dad, for whatever reason, didn't want the solution and was shut off from it, and I had to accept that when I went to see him and he'd drink, I couldn't monitor that or tell him not to, or whatever. I had to, accept that that's him. So, and that's what I did. Powerful. Lesson there, and quite traumatic, but getting stronger and learning from it, And
so when did you feel that the sort of we're going to look at life coaching, and we'll move on to why you're different from from others, or you consider that what you do is a different way of your approach. But at what stage over the last sort of 10 years, let's say it was 3-4 years ago, where you decided that was the sort of path you wanted to take to make a difference? Where was there a
my journey was before. No, my journey started. So I become a lecturer in my 20s. So I was teaching in college. I was teaching beauty therapy back then.
Yeah.
But teaching was my thing. Then I got sober. Then I did my psychology degree. Then I trained as a counsellor, and then I was delivering programs. So I was kind of combining my experience, my knowledge in psychology.
How long ago?
I did my psychology degree about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So early stage recovery.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was the recovery that sort of triggered off that.
Do you know what it was? It was getting sober and going, oh my word.
Yeah.
I don't want to drink anymore.
Yeah.
And going, it fascinated me that, oh my God, I'd been trying for so long.
You said this before when we spoke about this before, yeah.
In so much pain and agony and trying, and remember trying to promise my parents, I'm doing my best here. I don't know how to do it. And I was trying everything. And then when I went back to the 12-step plan, I went, look, you tell me what to do. Yeah. And I'll do it. Yeah. And I was kind of that willing. And then when I did, and then to find that after working a really hard program, a few months in, I lost the desire to drink alcohol. And that blew my mind. Yeah. And so I went, if this can happen, what else can we do? It's kind of, and I wanted to develop myself and understand a bit more. And that's what's, spurred me on to get the education that I did. And
then that's going to take us quite nicely onto self-education, which we're going to come back to in a little while.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Welcome back. It's Elliot again, Essex Business Radio here, sat with Martine Lucas.
Your good friend.
My good friend. Absolutely. And at the end of our first little segment, and at the start of it, actually, I mentioned educator, change champion, and then we ended on self-education. So, and in the little break we had there, just to have a quick refresh.
Yes.
I was, about personal development. So I think it's self-education, personal development. What do you class as self-education then? What is it to you?
Well, what I learned, I've kind of, like I said to you, I've kind of been, I've done my studies, etc., my degree, and trained as a counsellor, but also reading a lot of books. I'm kind of fascinated.
Oh, really? I can't do that. I have to listen to stuff.
Audible, yes, and I'm doing that now. I've got to say, because you can listen to it anywhere, can't you? And it does go in better.
Yeah, I used to read loads. Loads, years and years ago. Yeah. I used to do a novel in a day. Yeah, just speed read after a while. Yeah, I literally can't do it. I don't know why, but I can't pick stuff up and read it anymore.
Probably because you've got too much going on.
Maybe.
You've got no space for it.
Maybe.
But it's kind of like I do both now. I've got a book recently I'm reading, and I'm doing.
You read
Audible.
And you listen to another book at the same time.
No.
Clever. That's multitasking.
No, same book.
Oh, so you listen to it and you read it, do you?
That's what learning's about.
Shit, really?
Repetitive, actually, because I'm reading it from a page. Yeah. It's going in visually.
And you're going
listening to it. Yes.
Wow.
If you want powerful stuff from a book, that's the way to do it.
And what? So tell me, what are you reading? What are you reading at the moment? I mean, I don't ask this for many people, right? Because I don't read books.
Well,
so
you've hit on one probably that I wouldn't have mentioned, because this is a more. Probably not your line, Elliot. Not that it has to be.
Oh, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but go on.
Well, because we've talked about it before.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a spiritual kind of book. Yeah. This is me connecting again, as in with me getting some peace in my life and kind of knowing how to let go. Yeah. And there's certain ways of doing that. And there's a Gabrielle Bernstein. She can be a bit fluffy.
Okay.
And I don't like fluffy generally.
Right. Yeah.
But she has some powerful kind of things that she says that I can relate to. Okay. And this is her latest book, and I kind of thought this is the time to go. I'd seen it come up, and I was like, I need to be reading that and listening to that. Yeah. And so in fact, I was listening to when I pulled up outside, and I was listening to that, and it just puts me in a nice mellow place. Okay. So my head's not all over the shop, So that's kind of that book, but. Talking about self-education, what is self-education?
Yes, what is it to you?
Right.
Yeah.
So because before, if you talk about self-development and personal development, you're talking about life coaching, someone changing who they are or looking at them or discovering, right? No, go and tell me what you'd see it as.
I don't think it's always life coaching. I think it's taking what you need to develop certain skills that you don't already have. It's not. Yes. You don't have to do it in life coaching. You can read things, you can learn things, you can pay for courses, you can do all sorts of things. So that I probably see that slightly different. I think there is an element of that. I think it's good to have a life coach. I think it's good to have coaches. The best people do, as we've spoken about before. Yeah. But self-education is I think you class that slightly differently.
Well, yeah, and when I said life coach, I didn't mean that's the only thing. I said kind of an example would be life coaching.
Of course, definitely, yeah, because people understand that. Yeah, sure.
The difference with self-education is that I spoke about this earlier, and I said to you, the world of business is changing, right? And we know that, years ago it used to be you had a trade. Maybe it was your father's trade and you went into it, and you kind of, 20, 30 years later, you then get your clock, don't you? And you've served your time. And it's changed now, and like I said, I mentioned a book which was The Entrepreneur Revolution. Yeah. Daniel Priestley.
You've noted it. Here, yeah.
And I did read it a few years ago, but it hit home. And what's happening now is things have changed. And it's like, even if you're not an entrepreneur and you're working for companies, it's kind of like you're not necessarily staying there. You're moving on or to other companies, and navigating that is difficult, right? It's kind of like,
massively.
Do I change career? Do I go into the same thing with a different company? How do I do that?
Yeah.
And for an entrepreneur, you'll know this, right?
Yeah.
It just hits all those kind of negative spots, your vulnerabilities and that. Because when you got to run the show, and you got to do everything, it's kind of your weaknesses. You kind of see it, and it's tough. It's a tough
really
gig,
tough, really tough, yeah. And lonely, and we talk about this a lot, hugely,
It's so lonely, because you are trying to run the show, and even when you've got support,
even when you've got people around you,
absolutely,
doesn't matter how many people you've got around you, how much support. Sometimes you almost push those people away. You create the loneliness yourself because you feel you've got to be the person in control. Something that we talk about a lot. A lot of people I've spoken to in conversations.
That's in my book that I'm listening to. It's about how kind of we try and control everything. It's about letting go of that. It's because it's tough,
difficult,
right? So what's happened now is self-education's, people are seeing it differently. It's huge now, I think, because it should be huge. I think it's getting bigger. People are understanding that I need to know who I am. I need to know my weaknesses and my strengths, not just for the company, but for me in business.
Yeah.
I need to know, all right, at first I might be running the show, but where do I need people to help me where I'm not so good?
Yeah.
So I call them in. Where are my strengths? And I need to really work on them.
Definitely.
And this is what self-education is about. And so it's not just for me personally development. It's about me in life and in business and in my career and all that kind of thing. So that's what I learned, is because I want to be the best that I can be.
Yeah.
Although I think, again, that sounds a bit fluffy. What I like to say is kind of, I want to live on top form.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to be perfect.
You definitely don't like fluffy, do you?
I don't like fluffy. I don't like fluffy. When it gets
it's funny. I use fluffy a lot. Actually, I don't mean I don't use fluffy a lot. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to mean.
Talk to me about that later. But I'm talking about kind of, I know. It's all pretty and unicorns and rainbows. No, thank you very much. It's kind of the raw stuff. So, and I like what Daniel Priestley says. He said it's kind of street smart living. It's having that street smart mindset.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And I think that can apply to life. Yeah. It's not about
it's a lot, in essence, what I do a lot of, I think, isn't it? Very much on the ground, real stuff, real experience. Yeah. I like that terminology you just said there. Was that street
smart mindset?
I like that. I'm going to nick that. Well, I'm not going to nick it.
Don't
Daniel.
you nick it, no.
It's trademark. But that resonates with me.
Yes.
See, I think through these podcasts, through recordings, through chat shows we're doing, I'm going to learn a lot about
you
these
are
things.
In a perfect position to develop, because you're working with people that are inspiring you. You're learning from them. You're just taking it all in. So I need to be sitting in your seat.
You're not having this one.
No, all right. We're getting another one.
So that's what you think as class as your self-education. People just is understanding themselves and then educating themselves better about themselves. Is that no? I've got that completely wrong.
No. I think just what I'm trying to say, I don't know whether I'm saying it very inarticulately or what.
No, you're not. You're saying it very well.
It's saying that now we're seeing that society is different.
Yeah.
That it's not changing us. We've got everything that we need. Our behaviours might need changing.
Yeah.
And our thinking, thought processes might need changing.
Yeah.
And looking at that and being. It's like a business. You want it to be efficient and productive.
Yeah.
What about having a life that's efficient and productive because of the way you think, the way you live, you know, kind of, and having that smart mindset to go living better, kind of, I will get more, I'll be happier, I'll have more time or freedom, kind of looking at, and it's every aspect, it's health and fitness. And I mean, we know what it's like, when you set like New Year's resolutions, you set them and then they kind of fade away. But this is what, like, my program will give you, the sustainable change, because it's not just based on I want to lose some pounds. We're going to look at what your values are, like kind of looking at what's deep. And this is what I've learned over the years. I mean, it's about, if motivation only comes through, kind of our value system, right? for instance, we don't need to be motivated to drink water and kind of eat food, do we? That's there. You know, our basic, hierarchy needs and Maslow's hierarchy needs, looking at kind of our basics. And if motivation isn't fit with our values, a few months down, it's going to die off because it's not what we really want. And that's what, I've discovered. It's kind of, I need to look at me first to find out, why it is I want, what is it that I really want. And then once I've hit on that, that's when the motivation comes. So I used to call myself a motivational speaker. I'm not. I'm an educator, because motivation comes from other people knowing about themselves. It's kind of like, I can't give motivation. It has to come, and it's about helping them find where that comes from.
But in motivating people, you're educating. Isn't that one of the same thing? Is that not?
Because what I'm saying is, I'm not giving them motivation. I'm educating them.
I would say you're pretty motivational, though.
Thank you.
You've got a lot of energy.
Thank you very much.
You come across. You're very articulate. You've got a lot to give, a lot of energy to give, a lot of experience to give. A lot of people would see that as motivating.
I guess so. I just feel more comfortable educating.
But you prefer educator,
because I see motivation in a whole different ballgame now. I see it differently. I think
you're right. I think some people call them as themselves motivation.
There's nothing wrong with that. No, I'm not. There's nothing wrong with that, and people do. I've gone to shows and been very, very motivated and inspired.
Yeah,
it's what you leave with, because you'll leave that, and a couple of days down the line, you're not feeling so right.
The motivation drops off, but the education doesn't.
Right.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you very much, Elliot, for putting that clearly for me.
No. I think we'd get there in the end. But no, it's interesting, because I think we in helping people, which I think inherently we do. Yeah. And that's the sort of people we are.
Yeah.
Is sometimes. People don't understand what it is that you're going to help them with. Yeah, but I think in saying that, I'm asking maybe slightly awkward questions, and I maybe wasn't necessarily clear, but I'm clear now.
Well, this is why we're having a chat, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But it's good, because that's exactly what you are. If you want to educate, and you're right, education stays with you. Motivation doesn't necessarily. Exactly. You'd almost have to be speaking to them every single day to be a motivator, a mentor, or whatever you may well be.
Absolutely. So I'm kind of so they can kind of take it away and learn how to get that, tap into their motivation themselves, because we're all different motivators. I mean, it's kind of pain aversion or goal orientated. I'm not goal orientated. I'm pain averse. So a lot of pain for me will shoot me up forward, right?
Yeah.
But then other people might be in that mindset where they set goals and they can achieve it. I'm not. But knowing that, stops me from going too deep into pain, because otherwise it's kind of like I go down and I come back up again, stronger, but like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, sure.
But it's kind of, that's what self-education is about, is knowing what, makes me tick. I mean, mate, it's what my hotspot is. It's
what your passion is.
It's and it's switching that light on, kind of knowing what works, what turns me on, that kind of thing, and people need to know that.
No, that turns your light on. I'm not sure that's quite the same subject.
Turns on in life. We can say that. I think it works. But it's, and also with my mental health. I mean, I didn't mention about that. I've got ADHD, and we was talking earlier about ADHD, and I know now what works for me in certain areas. I'm still learning, but it's kind of like how I focus, so it's kind of changing how I work and how I kind of organise things, because I'm not generally a good organiser, so it's kind of like I have to put things in place.
Is it organised chaos a little bit?
It is, but but what it is, it's kind of, what works for me is when I it's not setting a goal, it's kind of put an challenge. When I put a challenge to me, I can focus.
You set
on
a deadline. I've figured this out with you. You've set a deadline.
Kind of worked me out, really.
and then there's a lot of there's a sort of a path that goes a bit like this, but you can't see this if you're listening. But I'm waving my hand from right to left. But it's all over the place. It's a roller coaster. And then but when you've got that sort of deadline in place, it's a straighter, slightly smoother path.
You've got it.
Yeah.
You've got it. And that's kind of ADHD, because I struggle to focus. And
I would say, and I'm sure Nevenka would probably agree with this, that I probably do something very similar.
Right. Yeah.
Nevenka doesn't necessarily agree with me on this, right? But I've come to realise in the last 12 months that I think I possibly have a mild form of ADHD as well.
Right, yes.
Which I don't think is a bad thing.
It's not at all.
I think it's made things slightly more difficult. Certainly, I don't feel forms
if that's what you've got, it's just, but understanding yourself, again, self-education and knowing what makes you tick, what works, that kind of thing.
Yeah. We lost people that are listening. We're back on. So we may well have lost the cameras for a little while, but we're back. Hi.
He loves the camera, doesn't he?
No, to be honest with you, I tend to forget their hair a little bit, actually.
I have, which is a good thing.
Yeah. It's because it's not quite. It's quite. You look lovely on camera. What's the matter
thank you very much. We haven't looked yet.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go a very quick break again, okay?
Yeah.
And then we're going to come back to something else, okay? All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Welcome back again, Martine.
Hello again.
And if you've only just joined us, this is live, or you just happen to join us, I don't think that would... Anyway, my name's Elliot Browne from Essex Business Radio. So we're here doing having a chat show, Fireside Chat with Martine Lucas, the educator and change champion. We've basically coined that phrase. You've coined that phrase. I haven't coined that phrase.
Yeah, you haven't. Nothing to do, you.
No, that's it. Before we move on to, because I want to know a little bit more about you. We sort of understand what drives you and what you sort of class as self-education and things like that. I think I want to know a little bit more about you, Martine.
Okay.
I think people would like to know more about you.
Okay, ask me.
So let's get down deep and dirty.
Go on then.
Well, I'm not too.
I don't know about that.
What do you like to do in your spare time? I know there's you have lots of things to deal with in your life.
Yes,
I know you, and
yes.
we have lots of conversations.
Yes.
So I know that. But what do you like to do when you get spare time? What is it that you like to do? Do you have anything that you pass time with, or take a break from life? And
I think that the first point is saying about it's important to get that. For me, part of my...
I do not do enough of this, by the way.
Well, we were saying this earlier, and we was having that chat when and you have to. You know, it's kind of like, and you go, well, it's not viable at the moment. Well.
You need to make it viable.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And kind of, if I said this to you, it'd matter. If your business would suffer because you haven't taken some time out, then it might matter a bit more. But to me, I just know I have to. It's because... But I don't find that too difficult right now, because I know when I need it, I'll feel it. I'll kind of feel a bit... I'll be jumping from one page to the other, or on my laptop, and starting to feel frustration kicks in. Yeah. And I think I'm not being productive right now. Yeah. I'm just floating about being frustrated.
I get that feeling.
Right. I need to take a break.
Yeah.
And that's not just take a break 10, 15 minutes. That might be, I need to change my environment. I need to go out and go for a walk maybe.
We were talking about this with somebody that came to see us yesterday. I'll tell you about this in a minute, a little while.
Right. Yeah. And I need to kind of get out of that environment and change. And it might be going to meet someone for coffee. It might be going for a walk. It might be, you said earlier about painting.
Yeah.
Although at the moment, I'll explain why I'm not doing it in a minute. But I have to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of people, maybe you, don't necessarily feel that you need, like, if you haven't got a program you've got to follow, you can kind of, get on with it. I have to.
Wing it, you were going to say, weren't you?
Was I? You're putting words in my mouth now, Elliot, are you? But it's kind of like I've learned this over the years. That's why I think I'm so is that I have to take care of me, and I kind of have to take care. Yeah. And I'm not being creative and productive when I'm frustrated.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's something to note.
I get that feeling completely.
Well.
So what do you do?
Take myself out.
Well, you're going to do what? What do you do?
Now, I do. You know what is best?
Go on.
Kickboxing. Do you remember me told you?
You do, yeah.
When I come in. I love it. Do you remember?
Yeah. You just started it, or you had just started it.
I said to you, I'm just going to give it a go, and we'll see.
Are you kicking shit out of things now?
I'm kicking the shit out of my trainer. Well, do you know what I loved, right? So I'm doing some kickboxing, and we was doing the boxing and introduced a few low kicks, and I went to him, I don't know, a month later, and I went, can we have my high kicks in? Because I did karate 10 years ago, not for long, but I remember loving to do a kick, right? Yeah. And he said, yeah, of course I can, we'll do a bit of high kicks. So I only winded him.
Did you?
I was so chuffed, it's like, he went, Martine, you just windy. I went, told you my kicks are good. Let's go with that. And you know what? The next time I was kind of he was going, right, we've got to do a lot of squats, a lot of leg work. And I thought, yeah, you get me tired. Do you know what I mean? But no, I love it. And it's because I feel quite powerful, when I'm doing that. And that really as well gets the frustration out. Yeah. You can imagine, right, I'm going to imagine that you're X, Y, Z, and I'm going for it. And I'm getting fitter, which is excellent.
Yeah.
But I do that, and I also do a bit of running. Now, I'm not a running fan. I don't like to run.
Yeah, outside or in the gym?
Outside.
Okay.
Outside. I did a half marathon.
Did you?
Yeah.
Shit. How'd it go?
I didn't train as much as I should have done.
Yeah, I don't think lots of people don't.
Elliot, I got there, right? I got the finish line. Let's talk about how long.
Yeah.
Let's forget that. I got there. But what I did, with me...
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right, exactly. So what... Shit, it wasn't all right. But what I do, so what I've worked out, again, knowing myself, is kind of going, right, I don't really like to... So forget the long distance. Let's nick that in the bud.
Yeah.
You like it because the feeling I get from it. So I do hill running.
Okay.
Because it kind of then gets that fat burn, that kind of high intensity.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, really good.
And I just do half an hour, right? So I can go for a hill run. Now, the kind of rocky moment when you get to the top of the steps.
Yeah, top of the steps, yeah.
I ain't got there yet.
Yeah, all right.
I do this long hill, and it's called, some people might know, Essex Way, and it's a long hill. Oh! And I'm stopping a couple of times on it, but I'm getting fitter, and my recovery's getting quicker.
So you haven't got to the top yet?
I've got to the top many a time, Elliot, but I've had to stop.
You don't give it the rocky moment.
I haven't done it all the way up.
Right.
I've had to stop.
Right, okay.
And I will do the rocky moment when I haven't.
When you've done it all right in one go.
Right. And that means proper fitness. And like I say, in my kickboxing, I'm realising my recovery is fast now. So I'm kind of like, give me 30 seconds, I'm back on it. Whereas before it'd be like, oh, I'm dying, like breathe. But now I'm kind of, the recovery's quick, so I know I'm getting fitter.
Yeah.
And that feels really good.
Yeah.
That helps me. And food, and I'm not saying I'm a foodie because I'm not a foodie. What I am, I like to know I'm eating good food.
Yeah.
When I'm being a kind of addict, I go all or nothing. So I'm either eating crap and sweets, and I'll binge.
Chocolate?
Yeah, of course, chocolate.
What chocolate?
And all the rest. Haribo.
What chocolates?
Galaxy.
What's your favourite? Galaxy.
Caramel choo-choo
there
ice cream.
There are other chocolates available,
should we start listing? Do you want to hear it? Pizza.
Yeah. Are these your guilty pleasures?
They are my guilty pleasures, and they will remain.
Yeah. Because
I can have.
It's better for you than alcohol, babe. Let's face it.
Well, yeah, but not just that.
Debatable if you eat it in excess, I suppose.
Right.
But yeah.
But what I have is I have a treat day. Every week I have a treat day because I'm not going to deprive myself. But what happens is you find as you get better, and I'm really into it now, those treat days don't become too indulgent. In fact, I'll go, oh, actually, I fancy that, and it's quite a healthy meal.
Oh, okay.
So it won't always kind of be that. It was in the beginning, but now it kind of tails off. I make my own pizzas with almond flour, so it's like
what?
So it's not. It's
really?
kind of protein.
You make you make the base and everything, do you?
Yeah, I'm not saying it looks good.
Let's get her over to make pizza.
No, I'm not saying it looks good. It's edible for me, and I love it.
It looks shit then. Is that what you're saying? But they taste good.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
What topping? What do you put on it?
I can do one with spinach and pesto and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or I will just do the cheese,
Right,
like
just cheese, double cheese.
I'm getting yes all the time. It's beautiful. So pizza. But what I'm saying is it's kind of my food has just got better and better. And in fact, I've got a thing that I want to try now, which is the coconut meat. So it's the main coconut with matcha tea, green powder.
Oh yeah. I saw someone using this on a program.
Oh, did you?
No, they were using matcha tea powder on Sunday brunch. They were making some on Sunday brunch the other day.
Oh, they might do. Yeah, I think it's quite big now. I've been using matcha tea in little bits in my smoothies, but now
I hear it's a good product to use. Yeah. Really good antioxidant. Really, anti-cancer, like loads of shit. Yeah.
So having that with some fruit and almond flakes and that gets exciting, and that's good. But what I'm saying is, when I'm in my bad, it's really bad. But when I'm in my good, it's really good.
Right.
So food and painting, we mentioned.
Yeah. So come on, tell me a bit. So come on, I'm intrigued. You've had a little bit of a block for a while now, and there's a good reason for this block. So what's the block at the moment? Because you've been concentrating on.
Yeah, because of how I think learn about me. With my ADHD, it's kind of like I can't get myself wholly in one thing and then do something else. It's kind of focus issues. Yeah. So if I'm focused on what I'm doing in my business, it's very hard for me to then, because I have to put my heart and soul into it. So painting is kind of taking a back seat for, and that's fine because I'm aware of it. Yeah. But I loved it because I did an A-level art and got an A. Oh, it was well done.
Perfect. Yeah, I got. Do you know what? I got an A in art.
Did you?
I think it was. Not an A level, no, mine was GCSE. I just remembered they advised me to leave sixth form. I'll tell everybody about that. They advised me to leave the sixth form. They did, yeah.
I want to know that story.
About 4 months in, I took A-level maths, believe it or not.
Right.
And that was like a fucking foreign language. I was like, I
See,
know
was
to
it
make
just
money,
like pinning
right?
a paper like maths?
Forget maths, right? That was the first one to drop out.
Yeah.
Geography, I enjoyed, but I was, and I took A-level art, and I would have continued with that, but they advised me to leave because. I wasn't.
Come on.
Well, I was because I was going into school.
Yeah.
And I was going to one class.
Right.
But I was a little bit disruptive.
A little bit. What are we talking?
I'm just I like to have fun. So art was great because we could bugger off into the village and go and do painting and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I was seeing somebody from the upper sixth who was, I was just anyway. She was quite attractive anyway. So that was I sidetracked myself with that really. So I didn't really concentrate. Now, if anybody's students that are listening to this, do not take this and think this is the way to do it.
How not to do it?
Yeah, how not to. And then what I used to do is the rest of the time I would bugger off into Burton-on-Trent, which is where I used to live near in the Midlands, and get drunk.
Right, yeah.
And then basically end up back at school drunk.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really very good.
I've done that before, gone out in my lunch break, gone down the pub and come back.
Yeah. So I did it quite a bit until the head of the sixth form, I think I gave him a nervous breakdown actually. He basically advised me to leave. So I had to leave the school. My parents didn't know for about 2 or 3 months. So I'd leave in the morning. Pretend, go to school, go and pick a friend of mine up, go into Burton, go and get drunk, drop him back off at school, right? I won't say how I did that on a motorbike, which was really bloody stupid, right? And then they contacted my father at work,
right,
one day to say that I'd left already for 2 months and why was I going into school?
How did that go?
Yeah, not very well.
No.
Yeah, no, not well at all.
Right.
Not well at all. He put me up against the side of the vehicle, basically, my father did. Quite rightly so, looking back at it now, because I'd taken the piss and stuff. But yeah, I'd intercepted about three letters to the house where they'd written to my phone.
Well, didn't you? It caught up with you there, but you've done pretty well.
I wasn't expecting this to come out today, to be honest. But so that was.
What did you learn from it, Elliot?
Do you know what I learned from it was that actually what I shouldn't have done, I shouldn't have gone into sixth form.
Right.
I wanted to go to college, and I should have stuck to my guns then, rather than probably adhering to what my father wanted me to do.
Right, I see.
I would have been. I was better suited to have gone to college in the mentality of leaving school, getting out of that. I don't know what the word is, but getting out of that environment of school and going into a maybe slightly more adult environment as I saw it, which was college was at the time.
Right. Okay.
And maybe have got further education there. That would have suited me better.
Yeah. Because I guess it just felt like school for you again.
It was villages. I lived in the village.
Right, yeah.
I went to school in the village. It just didn't.
Didn't tick
wasn't
your box,
for me at the
really?
time,
No.
and probably set me on a different path. But it all led me to this one, so it's all good.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But anyway, I wasn't expecting to get onto that subject, and
That's
neither were
good.
you, were you?
See, I know more about you now. We've done role reversal like I wanted to.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thank you very much for that. So the painting, so that got you off. We got you off subject a little bit there, but I had a bit of a block.
Basically, I accept now. It's not kind of me beating myself and going, well, I'm not painting right now. It's not the time right now. I'm focused on my business, which is creative. This is creative stuff.
Yeah.
And my painting will come in, but I did a live class.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that? Naked?
Yeah. So
you did?
No, not me. You're having a laugh. No. And she was a beautiful lady, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
Is this local?
Yeah, I'll give you the number later. But yeah, it was fantastic to do that. So I still want to try different things with it.
Okay.
Definitely being creative. But at the moment, my creative juices are in my business.
Are focused on the Prime project.
Exactly.
Which we're going to talk about in a little while.
Yes, love your links.
And we're back. It's Elliot again, Essex Business Radio, here sat with Martine Lucas.
Hello.
So, Martine, the Prime project, right? We've got to the point where we're going to talk about the Prime project.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
I'm going to tell you about my little baby, shall I?
Yeah,
my
please
little baby.
do. This is exciting stuff. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. It's so cool because this is kind of been developing without me knowing it over, 10 years.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of like I'd said earlier, it's developed from my experience in
Your
recovery, in my education, it's kind of professional, education and my kind of academia, but also working with others.
Academia, I like that. That's a good word.
Academia,
Posh.
bring them all together. And so, working with different people, seeing their journey, and it's come together to say, like, this time when I feel strong again, I kind of now know what I need to look at.
Yeah.
And I found it being the same for others. And when I look into kind of, like I'd say to you, I look at books and I'm kind of fascinated by different kind of aspects on these kind of subjects.
Yeah.
And the Prime Project come together through looking at these minor, it's an acronym, Prime.
Yeah.
Right? So we're talking about purpose.
Yeah.
Talking about resilience.
Yeah.
We're talking about identity.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go, and they're the principles. They're the main principles of the Prime Project. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we've got master and execute. And master is the kind of, well, how do we put all this together? Looking at setting goals, what might be our blocks, so really going, it's not just a goal setting. This is a master plan, right?
I love it.
Yeah. And then executing and taking action. And on my training course, which we'll come to in a minute, it is about taking action that day. We're not talking about, right, when you leave here.
Yeah.
Action
there and then. Yeah, right? Yeah. Something we firmly believe in as well. We're working on it. Absolutely. I mean, I get that. Yeah. Don't just tell them.
Yeah, and support them for it and go, well, we kind of come to this conclusion about what their first move is over the training day, and they get there and it's like, right, well, let's how can we put that into action now? What can we do? But,
yeah, sure.
So the Prime Project is a way of, what I found is I can live productively, efficiently, happier, more freedom. I have better relationships. I have more time for me. I kind of, and that's through what I've learned and putting it all together. And the first thing, so if we start with purpose, right, it's kind of, I knew that anyway. I kind of went, what is my main reason for keep coming back and getting stronger and having that motivation to pull myself back?
Yeah.
Where's that come from? And I read it, it's having a purpose, right? And my purpose began when I entered recovery. And that was, first of all, I want to get myself well and stop this behaviour that actually is a disease that took me down, right? Yeah. And then going, well, okay, now I want to share that because I was passionate. Like I said to you, the passion is just unbelievable. It's that I go, oh my God, right? I don't have to live wanting that anymore. I can have freedom from that. So the passion started there. And that's what drives me. And then I looked at years ago, Viktor Frankl, and he wrote a book, but he's founded logotherapy.
Okay.
And what this is
I've heard about this before.
You probably have. Austrian psychiatrist, and he survived the Holocaust, and he was right, okay, and what he said, the reason why he got through that is because his purpose was, while he was in there, was teaching the kids, right? So he had a purpose, and he's saying that the suffering that we can't even imagine, can we? Let's forget that.
Not at all, no.
And he's saying what got him through is having that purpose, and he's saying in life, basically, we're going to have suffering. Life brings pain, we're going to be let down, we're going to have all that.
Of course.
But if we've got a purpose, we've got somewhere to aim for, and we can keep looking at that. And that's what kept bringing me back. So, and people don't know about what their purpose is. They might have gone into a job by accident. They might have followed someone else's. You know what it's like in life. You can just float. Unless you've been told, sit down and let's have a look.
Yeah.
What floats your boat, what's going on. Why do people do it? Well, I think people are starting to understand now that, having a purpose and knowing what that is. And it doesn't have to be a career. I'm talking about, it might be something that they do in their free time, and that working is just to be able to do. Your face, what do you want to ask me?
No, because you've just sparked something off there. You said you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people do just go through, so nobody does ask them. But so is this like values? Is this the sort of like the values as well? Is it?
Values
I did that 1 month ago. No, I did a bit more. I think it's a bit more than a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
I sat down and did that.
Right.
surprised me.
Yes.
I think we I think this would be covered on another show. So we don't need to go into this now.
No.
And some people will know what that is. They're listening to this as well. If you don't, go and Google it, and have a look. So I don't want to go into that right now. But it's a real eye opener. It
is an eye opener because, like I say, we kind of take it for granted that we're right. So our kind of basic needs is earning money, eat food, and then it's like, well, how am I going to earn money? Right. Well, that career fits, and without going, let's have a look. Who am I? What do I want? And it's kind of, and there are ways.
I think what I found out is the values are actually totally different to what you think they are. You think they've got to be something because you think that's what you should think.
Because your values might be taken from your parents and how they lived and their experience.
Or you've just our outside influences,
society
itself. Yeah.
So. Without you sitting down and doing, and I have, and I'm not going to go too much into it now, but passion test it's called, and it's a way of uncovering that, and there's loads of different ways of uncovering your purpose, but this kind of is one of them, and it's fantastic how it is because it's very, very simple, and then you start to go, oh my word, I didn't realise that, so you realise that you're not in sync with what you want. No wonder life's tough. No wonder you're getting stressed. No wonder all that's coming in.
I so get it. Get that. Yeah.
And this brings us back to the motivation part. That if you're not in track with what flips your switch, what the values are, then it's going to be a battle. Yeah. And so you're going to find it, and then you think, I'm lazy. I'm just I'm a failure. I'm this, that, and the other. Yeah. Well, no, you just haven't aligned. And you haven't looked at it, and this is what self-education is about. So purpose, huge.
Yeah.
Resilience.
Yeah.
And I found resilience. I read this book years ago, and I used to recommend it. I've stopped recommending it now because it's quite deep. I didn't realise how deep. But some people have gone to me, "Oh, that's heavy, that one."
Go on.
But it's just in the first bit, the road less travelled.
Okay, you've mentioned this before.
Oh,
I think I've heard this mentioned before.
I'm frightened, Elliot, because it sounds like I repeat myself a lot. Because you go, "Oh, you've mentioned this before."
Yeah, but we've talked about things though. But the people that are listening or watching this, they don't know. Do they?
No, I know, but I mean, to me, is this all? Anyway, I digress. So the road less travelled. In the first paragraph, it kind of says, life isn't easy. Life is hard. Once we accept that, it becomes easy. Yeah. And don't quote me on that, but that's pretty much going.
Yeah.
Once your expectations are, no one, you weren't born and they go, do you know what is the contract? Life's going to be bloody lovely.
Yeah.
All right? And that's how it is. Yet sign it, date
perfect.
No, right? So we know that life's going to be tough. And it is part, life is suffering.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier.
Right. But we can, if we kind of look at, how we can accept that life's... So when the good stuff comes, it's like jumping on that and appreciate, and the simple stuff about being grateful for what you've got. Because sometimes we can get caught up in business.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is not working on this, not working again. Well, let's kind of have a look what's really going on. I'm doing fucking well. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing all right. And it's kind of tapping into that. But there's loads of ways of looking at resilience and kind of, again, a mindset, you know? And I think you're not born with resilience. It's something you learn. And people assume that, I'm resilient or I'm not.
Yeah.
Bollocks. It's kind of sitting down and having a little look and going, right, let's have a look at my mindset. Where's my mindset at?
Yeah.
So resilience, there's a few activities we go. Again, another eye opener. And then identity.
Yeah.
Huge. It's kind of like, well, who do I think I am? Mm-hmm. Who am I? Mm-hmm. Where do I come from? And looking back at your past stuff, because what another huge thing for me was, if we've still got shit in our background, the stuff that happened in our past, and we haven't dealt with it. Yeah. Fucking hell. We've not only got, sorry I'm swearing again, but only got that.
We're free.
We're piling another stuff. Every day stress is on that. Yeah. So we've got double bubble of stress. Right? Yeah. So we look at let's look at, kind of completing that and clearing up that sort of stuff. Yeah. And go, well, who really am I? It's not my behaviours of what I've done. Yeah. Kind of, what's going on. Yeah. And looking at identity is huge for about success,
So you're talking about, dealing with things from your past and stuff like that. I used to class, sort of jumping in a little bit, and these conversations sort of spark things off in my mind. I used to be quite proud of the fact that I used to compartmentalize stuff. Yeah. And I went to see, a guy called John Kenny. I don't know whether you know who he is. No. He was. I suppose he started off as almost like a counsellor in a way, but it was like a bit of a life coach in a way. I suppose. Right. A good couple of years ago now, a few years ago. And when I went to see him, that was one of the things I said. I said, "Oh no, I can deal with things. Because what I do is I basically put these things in a box and I stick them in a cupboard and close the door. And he went, there's your big problem. Seriously. And I talk about this quite openly now because that's exactly what I thought was really good.
Right, yeah. You're not processing any of it. You're just sticking it in the back there.
Yeah. So it was like, actually what you got to do, open that bloody door and all that shit's going to fall on you at some stage. So take one of those boxes out and maybe deal with those bits and pieces at a time. So that I sort of just wanted to bring that in there because you mentioned that, and I think that analogy there is quite good to bring out in the open.
It is how it is. It is, yes. Let's process it. Let's deal with it, and that can be difficult for people. So you know, the way that I do it in on the Prime project is kind of talking through keeping the basics. So I teach them how to do it with just the simple stuff. Yeah. Or however far they want to go with it, however deep they want to go with it, we can work for it. And then they have that with them. They know that process, and then they can go away, and as stuff comes up or past stuff that they want to deal with in a safe environment, they can, and they can with me. Something I'll mention that you know, with coaching sessions, but so important to kind of look at, you know, who am I? Because who I think I am will kind of govern my success. Yes. Where I'm going. I mean, and that we all know that, don't we? Yeah. So it's looking at that and looking at, who are we? Who do we admire? Who are we looking at? Who are we inspiring, you know, to be or what? And that's huge for me, like I said. So combining all them, the purpose, resilience, and the identity that I have. Yeah. Is what will create that successful life. And when I say success, I mean it's different for everyone. Yeah, everybody's success levels of success or vision or view of success is very different. Yeah, but it can be applied again for any area of your life. And you know, it's back to that motivation that if we have all that in place, we have the resilience, right? Yeah. We know we are. Yeah. We have our purpose. Yeah. Right. We're fighting fit to have the motivation that we think we haven't got, you know. We kind of think we're failing, and like, no, because we haven't tapped into that shit, you know. We need to tap into that to get that motivation that's sustainable. Don't go, you know. And then people think, you know, and it used to be, and I thought the same, you know, you got to work hard, the more you put in, the more you get out, and I'd learned all that. Actually not so true. It's being smarter. It is working smarter, and it's the age-old adage, isn't it, of working smarter, not harder necessarily, but exactly. And I think with business, we've applied that kind of how can we be more productive and more efficient and all that in business goes with the territory. People don't necessarily look at that in life, and I think those people, it's not just those people that are into self-development anymore. It's people that go, do you know what, I want to be on top form. Let's see what will happen if I did get on top form. And definitely. I really kind of and not necessarily working harder, got in smarter, understanding who I am, see what happens, you know, and kind of for me that's been really powerful, and it makes me stronger. I don't have to battle that. You know, I'm aware of myself, I'm aware of my identity and that kind of thing. So it's exciting stuff, but it also comes from I don't know if you've heard of Jack Canfield. Yeah, of course. The Success Principles. Yeah. So there's a school of Jack Canfield, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm a lot of people that are actually successful business owners or directors, like big directors, have been on that I know. I've seen this pop up on LinkedIn, and obviously that's a real personal development type of school. It's hot. Well, I didn't know much about it until the last year or two, to be honest. So I'm a certified Jack Canfield trainer. I believe you are. That's right. Success Principles, and it's powerful stuff, and it is combining that with, like I say, what I've learned and kind of packaging it differently, because I found a program can be, because I love his stuff. Yeah. It's not simple, you know. It's kind of quite in depth, and you can get kind of, and you know me, we're talking about ADHD, when it's all over the shop, it can get chaos. Yeah. And so for me, that's the beauty, is that I've brought it down into kind of this lovely little package that works, you know. Sure. And so I'm really, really excited about kind of delivering this stuff and going, come on, let's have a go. And also I'm offering 2 coaching sessions as well. So with the training, so we're holding it at Christmas, right? So it's on the 20th. So it's very near Christmas, and that's a deliberate thing, right? Okay. What happens at Christmas, right? It's a vulnerable time. We all say it's really happy time. We sometimes get triggered. Yeah. Family. I've got triggers at Christmas. Right. For sure. Overindulgence, you know, it's kind of that. It's quite heavy. And so they're the times to kind of bring awareness and go, let's have a lovely Christmas. Let's see what's happening. And then I meet with them again after Christmas and kind of have a session with them. And believe it, that's how I've learned, is that I'll kind of instead of saying you can't do this, it's go and do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's find out how you survive in that or how you don't survive in that.
Yeah.
What triggers, how do you feel, kind of, and that's a real good one. So it's kind of, go on, sorry.
No, go on.
But that's a real telltale. So that's self-education for you. Is kind of put you in it and go, let's see what happens, kind of thing. And then kind of meeting up with them after and see what we can find.
So
out.
how long's the course then? What's that?
Just a day.
It's a day course.
It's a day course. Yeah, it'll be 10 till 4.
Yeah.
And it'll be at Stockbrook Manor, which
lovely.
is nice.
It's
a beautiful venue, isn't it?
Love it there.
In Billericay, and we've got the garden room, so it's all just beautiful glass.
Oh yeah, no, really nice room, beautiful.
Stunning.
When you walk in.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah,
so
really
lovely. Glass. I'm really excited about that. Kind of went and booked that the other day. Really, really excited about that, and kind of think, seeing how it'll play out. That's what I tend to do, is kind of focus on it, and I was just feeling like, right, this is it. And the 20th to me, I was thinking near Christmas when I was going, I wanted it to be nearer Christmas because of that reason, and I doubted myself, as we do, we kind of thought, is that the right thing? And I just remember, and I look back and I think at Christmas, because it's such a trigger for me, I know that this will be so valuable to some people to see what happens. I have a lot of people, it might be relationships, it might be food, it might be kind of, their weight, it might be, business or whatever. But when you're around that kind of environment, like I say, it can trigger you. So it's really good to kind of then come back after Christmas and go, let's see what happened. Let's see what you found out, kind of thing. So,
But these are all tools that you use anyway with clients, aren't they? The things that you're putting into this is stuff that you've used over the years anyway. It's a natural...
I have lots of different... No, this is new.
This is new. This is specific, but what you've got is a lot of experience in using these things.
Yes, it's how I've packaged it is different, but it's certainly
that's what
I've learned.
I
have different programs for different people, and because I find out, I've over the years I've found out what kind of works, what's more important. Now it's all valuable,
yes,
but for certain people might need this first, so let's focus on that and kind of work from that kind of set. But this, I've found it encompasses everything about kind of, like I say, not just kind of if you've had a low stage. So this is for people, right, that have gone, they might be young and they kind of don't know where they want to go.
Yeah. So
they come on Prime Project, we're going to find out, right? Or people that have gone, do you know what? I wasted my... we have evolutionary age, right? That's your prime. So this is the prime we're talking about, right? You have your evolutionary age, and that's what, 18 to 30?
I haven't reached my prime yet, by the way.
No, that's long
I'd just like to tell everybody.
Elliot, long gone, mate. Long gone, mate.
What's
Sorry.
Up? Whatever.
Let's be real.
Oh, come on.
Come on, we're being honest, right?
Yeah.
So you have that, and we might have passed that, and then we go, did I really make the most of, me being at my best? Well, no, most of us just float through it, and you go, what about if I did have, really put that effort in, have a little look and find out and kind of be productive and efficient? I keep saying that word, but it's really valuable. And then go, what might happen then? And that's what I mean. It's about living your best by not having to do too much. It's just being smarter.
Yeah.
Come and learn a few things, spend some time, and then come away going, oh, hello, that's something new, and go with it and see what happens. And it's like I'm just really excited, as you can
I know you are, and I love that.
Yeah.
And I love the clarity on what you're doing with it and how you're doing it, and everything you've said today. It inspires me.
Oh, fantastic!
But it's great to get to know you a little bit better, and other people to get to know you, and. I'm excited for this for you.
Thank you.
This is going to be the first of many, of course.
Of course it is. Absolutely.
So it's not ending the year; it's starting the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really, really excited about it. And like I say, so we've said, haven't we, the date, and the 20th are coming up to Christmas, and it's at Stockbrook Manor. And for anyone that just wants to start living, top form. And
then if anybody wants to know more about that, they can go and have a look at the Prime Project on Facebook, or at the Prime Project on Facebook. That will give you all details about that. Obviously, they can contact us here at Essex Business Radio, or myself personally at Elliot Browne. So that's it. There's plenty of ways we can. Anybody that's interested in this at all. There's loads of different ways to find out about it, and we're going to make sure they'll find out about it.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything else that you would like to cover before we wrap this incredible interview up, this incredible chat, this fireside chat with Martine? I think I've loved this. I've really enjoyed it. You've been an incredible guest.
Do you know what I've enjoyed most? Learning about you. We will have to do the role reversal. Well, I'm sitting there and you kind of go, right, Elliot, tell me about this.
Yeah.
No, it's been great. Thank you so much.
I wasn't expecting to come out with that, to be honest.
No, it's great.
But I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that people are going to learn about me when I just come out with these mad things that have happened to me over my life.
Yeah, lovely.
But no, it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for coming and doing that. And I think we're going to be doing a few more of these. We've already picked a couple of subjects, haven't we, that I think we're going to cover.
Yeah, definitely.
But great, good luck. I wish you all the best with this.
Thank you very much.
If we've got time, I shall come along as well.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, I'd like that.
You can always learn. There's always things to learn, particularly about yourself.
Yeah.
And I think you can open up doors, not close doors when you're doing it. And if you need to close certain doors, it's probably for the right reason. But I think there's a...
He's cupboard.
We'll open
that.
Well, I've got it open these days.
Good.
I just take things out here and there, to be honest. Scatter them about.
Yeah.
But no, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Elliot. Appreciate it. It's been great.
Martine Lucas for the Prime Project. You can check that out at the Prime Project on Facebook. And we're going to be updating this podcast with other ways you better contact Martine and myself. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for listening. From us here at Essex Business Radio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listening to Essex Business Radio with your host, Elliot Browne.